Thank you, Ray. And I think a very wonderful organized conference by the entire SBIA team. Not only the hall is completely full, it is so wonderful to see on the last day after lunch, everybody is on the seat. So this is a very involved audience. But I also heard there are more than 2,500 people in 47 countries. And we do in US about 40%, 80% of the drug substance is manufactured outside the United States. So it is wonderful that we have a representation from 47 countries. I haven't brought any candies or I don't have any comic strips, but this is a very involved audience, so I don't think I need any of that. So let me tell you way up front, agency also shares the same goal as you because we do want to approve ANDAs in the first cycle. First cycle is the first goal date. It all depends upon how committed you are so that we can achieve this goal together to improve the accessibility, affordability, and availability of generic medicine. It's also wonderful to see a lot of my colleagues from FDA. So, without further ado, I'm going to talk about the drug substance. So, as you all know, drug substance is a molecule which provides pharmacological activity. So, without drug substance, it's all placebo. Right? Where does this information sit? This information can sit in the ANDA, abbreviated new drug application, or it can be submitted to the FDA in what is known as drug master files or master file 2. So master files are only reviewed when it is referenced in the application. They are not approved, but they are found adequate, and you must follow an electronic CTD format from May 5. So I'm sure you all guys are ready to switch. And this is how the CTD format looks. You all guys are familiar with the with this section. So the section S will deal with the drug substance. So this is all I'm going to leave, and I'm not going to go into the details of each section. But what I'm going to do is talk with you about our experience in reviewing and give you some wonderful nuggets that you can take back and implement so that we can improve the quality of the submissions. And you will not have same deficiencies coming up again and again. So rest of the time I'll spend talking about the number of enhancements from GDUFA II as they are applicable to drug substance part. There have been number of wonderful changes in the GDUFA II you guys have negotiated. The first of all is I thought this was all going to be a small business, but I do see some big business people. But wonderful thing that you have negotiated is a program fee, which is only 1/10 of what the larger companies would be paying. So take advantage of that. So one of the requirement, the first requirement in the this was coming from GDUFA I was the completeness assessment. So completeness assessment is just a pre-review of the DMF to make sure that it includes all the information for a scientific review to begin. And what is new in the GDUFA II is that we have to complete 90% of the completeness assessment in 60 days. We are doing very well. I don't think we have missed any dates there so far. And the other requirement was that DMF should be available for reference at the time of submission of ANDA. And how do you get the DMF to be available for reference is pay fee, pass the completeness assessment, and then agency will put it on the list of available for reference. Other program enhancement, and then I have a list here, and then I'll go through in my subsequent slides. So instead of spending time here, I'll go through each one of them. This is the best enhancement. The reviews, DMF reviews, are now aligned with drug product reviews. And I have a graphical slide coming up. I think it is a following slide, and I'll explain it a little more. Then there is a teleconference. Make full use of the teleconference if you have any issue or you don't understand any deficiencies. Now there are requirements like submit a teleconference in 20 business days, and the FDA will grant or deny in 30 days. And there is also an opportunity for an email exchange with the FDA. So here is the slide, and I want to spend a little bit of time because this offers a significant advancement in the GDUFA II. So once the ANDA is filed, and this information, although I made the slides 1 week ago, this is already old. This is how dynamic FDA is. So once the review, DMF review begins, around the mid-cycle for a standard ANDA will be 150 days. And agency came up with a guidance yesterday, and it says the mid-cycle is, for a standard ANDA will be 130 days plus 30 days. So that's why this slide, as I said, is already old. But let's keep that in mind. So we want to align our DMF review with the drug product review. So you will get a deficiencies or IR letter or division discipline response letter around mid-cycle of the review. Very, very, very important. So you respond in time. Very, very important, generally 30 days, so that we have enough time then to review your response and get ready by the QDD, which is a quality due date, or owner's due date, which is ODD, which is an OPQ due date, which is 2 weeks before the goal date. So OGD has enough time to provide you with an approval letter or CR letter, whatever it may be. So we are saying number of companies. How many of you guys submit a DMF, by the way? 1, 2. So not many, so I guess we could move on. So anyway, I have 20 minutes and I'm going to talk. But a lot of you guys probably work with drug substance, right? Yeah, that's most important. Without drug substance, it's all placebo. So our reviews are aligned with drug product reviews or ANDA reviews. The mid-cycle, that is when you will start seeing the deficiencies. When you see the deficiency, try to respond in 30 days. We are seeing number of people asking for extension of the response, extension to respond to the deficiencies. And whether we grant the extension or not, it is a very complicated math. And you can see why it is. Because our goal is to meet a QDD date, and which is 5 weeks for DMF before the goal date. So if you're asking for an extension, you should allow us a sufficient time for us to have the review of those deficiencies. But many of you may be thinking, why my extension is denied because I am still saying that I will submit before the goal date response, and this is why. I think this slide makes it clear. That's why I wanted to spend a little more time so that you can understand the issues. We are averaging about, in the DMF group or DMF division, we are averaging about 200 reviews per month. Basically, it means that you as an owner or holder of the DMF should be on top of things, because we have a lot of reviews moving through the office. So next few slides, I'm going to give you, as I said, our observations, where we see there is a room for improvement, because even today, about 98% of the DMFs are not found adequate in the first cycle. So there is a room for improvement, and I have in next few slides giving you some ideas how you can improve the quality of DMF submissions. So avoid the deficiencies in the key areas, and I will tell you what those key areas that we have seen in next 3 or 4 slides. Have a dialogue or communication with your and the holder and the applicant. Use TCON or email effectively, and try to respond as early as you can, as soon as you can. So the DMF deficiencies that could impede your approval, or the areas, one is the hidden facility, and this is what we are finding it more and more recently. And I have a slide there where I'll show you some numbers. So I think the facility which is used for manufacture or testing of the drug substance, including the critical intermediate, should be on 356H. The facility on the 356H may get inspected. So some of the intermediate facilities may get inspected. Outsourcing of majority of manufacturing process, that is a new trend we are seeing. Multiple intermediate vendors, which basically says you have less control on what is going on, or there are significant differences in the manufacturing processes between the vendors, significant different chemistries. Starting material is still an issue, and it is because of some of you are having a misinterpretation of Q11. So revisit the Q11, and there is a Q&A associated with the Q11 starting material section. So this is just the last 4 months data, and we have seen there were about 80 facilities which we had to ask the firms to include in the 356H as a hidden facility. This is only last 4 months data. Now setting the in-process specification and intermediate specification without supporting data. That's a big no-no or a red flag. And you will definitely get a question from an assessor and ask you to explain or provide a spike word studies. When you are proposing a high impurities in the intermediate, think about byproduct, or think about possibility of that impurity reacting down the stream. Another big issue is M7. Okay, so here is a data, and this is again last 3 months data, where we have seen the areas which we still find number of deficiencies in, and the PGI control stands out, where you have almost about 45 applications in last 3 months have received a deficiency in the PGI. And And the reason I point out this is a major deficiency because you will have to do something when you get a question about PGI. Either develop a analytical method which is suitable to monitor PGIs at that level. You may have to, you may submit certain data which we will have to consult. And that will all potential of missing the goal for first cycle approvals. So that is why I'm pointing out that this is a significant area of concern where we have the PGIs. And if you follow your reaction scheme from beginning to the end, your intermediate starting materials, reagent for an control of potential genotoxic impurities. Potential PGIs, because M7 gives you a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to categorize, quantitate, and control potential genotoxic impurities so that we can limit the exposure of carcinogenic impurities in the drug substance. So I can talk about just this slide for 1 hour because that is how much information is there. You have 5 categories and 4 options, and then you have all this use and all that. So use M7, and I think everybody should educate all their manufacturing people about this M7. That's how I feel about it. Method validation, we do see concern in method validation with some applications. And if you have to develop a method, it can really cost a lot of time. When you come to stability, and I think stress studies, some of you may be seeing that there are some deficiencies coming about or questions coming about the stress studies. So those were some of the concerns, and going on to other GDUFA II enhancements. We have first adequate letter. This is new. It is just an information to the DMF holder that the DMF has become adequate for the first time. Okay, and it also means don't submit a gratuitous amendment if you are very close to the ANDA approval, because then it can potentially delay things. No further commitment letter is a very similar to adequate letter, but this letter comes when the ANDA is approved or tentatively approved. The guidance for post-approval changes guidance is coming. It should be coming very soon. It addresses the expectations, what should be, how the DMF should be updated once the DMF has been found adequate. And also, when you update the DMF, it's also going to affect the ANDA. So it talks about how it affects the ANDA and how the data should be submitted in the referencing ANDA. Complex drug substances or complex drug product, totally new category created in GDUFA II. Wonderful, wonderful opportunity for all the people who are trying to develop the complex product, and that's the strength of small business. Usually, my time is up. But that is the strength of small business many times, where they're trying to create a complex product which may be due to a complex drug substance, complex dosage form. You may have an alternate BE methods, and agency will work with you so that to support a submission of quality ANDAs. So in summary, so we have the first adequate letter. Most DMFs are found inadequate during the first and require 2 to 3 cycles of review. There is a significant opportunity to improve the quality of submission. Respond to first cycle IR or DRLs in 30 days or as soon as possible for the subsequent cycles. Take advantage of the other program enhancements such as the teleconference, email exchanges, and meeting for complex drug substances. Thank you very much. You have been a wonderful audience.
Thank